butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere. Friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
A butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
I can go anywhere. Friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. I can go anywhere. Friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the monthly book club discussion stream. This one for July. And we read Celestial Sage's pick, Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Reed. I had never read anything by this author before. This was I had never heard of this series before. So this was a new experience for me. I thought we'd start just by running through the synopsis of the book, just in case anyone who didn't read can get caught up on the events that transpired, the general plot, some of the characters we're going to meet. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I have a few comments. Yeah. So let's jump in. I just pulled up the Wikipedia page, so let's just do that. Dealing with Dragons. First published in 1990. Dealing with Dragons is a young adult fantasy novel written by Patricia C. Reed and is the first book in the Enchanted Forest Chronicles series. The novel chronicles the adventures of the princess Cimmerine, who escapes her tediously ordinary family to become a dragon's princess. It received the 1991 Minnesota Book Award for Fantasy and Science Fiction. Princess Cimmerine, frustrated with her life, persuades the castle staff to teach her fencing, magic, cooking, Latin, and other subjects deemed improper for princesses. Whenever her parents discover these activities, they forbid her to continue learning and prohibit the staff members from teaching her further. The king and queen take Cimmerine on a state visit to a neighboring kingdom, where she discovers their plan to marry her to the obnoxious Prince Thranduil. Unable to bear the thought, Cimmerine flees and encounters a group of dragons. She volunteers to be the captive princess of Dragon Khazul, who assigns her to cook meals and organize the dragon's library and treasure hoard. Cimmerian grows fond of her new life and befriends Kazul, though she must constantly fend off knights and princes attempting to rescue her. She places a sign on the road to the cave, hoping to deter potential rescuers. While posting the sign, Cimmerian encounters a wizard who, after being annoyed, departs using complex magic. Cimmerian deduces he is a powerful wizard. Later, Kazul explains that dragons and wizards are in conflict over access to the Caves of Fire at night. The wizard's staves can absorb magic from nearby sources, including dragons. Cimmerian and Aliora, the princess of the dragon Warog, discover another wizard collecting herbs near the dragon caves. Cimmerian brings a sample back to Kazul, who, panicking, immediately burns it. However, the smoke from the herb, identified as dragon's bane, a poison to dragons, makes Kazul ill. Kazul sends Cimmerian to warn another dragon about the wizard's dragon's bane collection, but it is too late. The king of dragons has already been fatally poisoned. Despite Kazul's lingering illness, Cimmerian must compete in the trials to elect the next king of dragons, a title open to any gender. As she navigates the dragon caves on Kazul's errands, she encounters a prince who has been turned into a living statue. From the Stone Prince and Aliora, Cimmerian learns that the wizards, with Warog's help, poisoned the king. The wizards intend to manipulate the trials to ensure Warog wins the title, granting them access to the dragon's caves and magical treasures. Alior discovers a method to defeat wizards: soapy water mixed with lemon juice. Armed with this knowledge and aided by friends, Cimmerian thwarts the wizard's scheme. Meanwhile, Kazul emerges victorious in the trials and becomes the king of dragons. And they all lived happily ever after. Maybe. There are many more books in the series. We have to imagine some shit went down. The general arc maybe leads towards happiness, we can assume. Reception to the novel has been positive. Kirkus Reviews called it smoothly written and ingenious fantasy, praising its non-stereotypical female protagonists. In 1991, Dealing with Dragons appeared on the ALA Best Book for Young Adults list, now ALA Best Fiction for Young Adults, the School Library Journal Best Book of the Year list, and the New York Public Library Best Book for the Teenage list. Dealing with Dragons won the 1991 Minnesota Book Award for Fantasy and Science Fiction. Hey, Frederick, good morning. How you doing? And that's the rundown of the book. Let's bring this over here. Okay. So I have a few notes on my phone about a couple things that stood out. Anyone read the book? And if so, do you have any thoughts? I did not. I read it like immediately, so it's already been like almost a month actually. It's a very quick read. I've been dead for roughly a month now. What's going on? Was it what you were mentioning before, or just... You mean the heat? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Well, I hope you start feeling and doing better. Into illness, then straight into the heat. That's tough. Have you been doing any better on the first half of that? Today is going to be 22 degrees apparently. Okay. Now for me, I see that, I think, good. That's good. How are you feeling about that 22? I would love to see that. It was 37 and it hit 38 for a little bit yesterday. It was brutal. You love 22 right now? Yep. Sounds about right. I would kill for some 22. I'd kill for just seeing the numeral too. Like, I wouldn't be overjoyed to see like 28, 29, but it would be pretty pleasant in this moment right now to just not see it starting with 3. Normally I hate anything above 20. 22 sounds so nice. It really does. I'm kind of happy until we get into like 24, 25, 26, around there. Like, I'm fine until then. Depending, like, as long as the humidity isn't too bad, then that's okay for me. But after that, yeah, I'm not too happy. After 3 weeks straight of like 30 degrees, yeah, it's rough. So the Wikipedia article mentioned, like, kind of subverting the expectations of the princess archetype. And I want to say, like, in 1990, reading this for the first time in 2025, I gotta be honest, like, this book wasn't for me. I didn't really get much out of it. I don't really read a lot of YA books. I never really did. Like, in elementary school, of course, I had a phase, but, like, I started reading, like, Stephen King at a very young age. So I kind of, I don't want to say moved on. I'm not trying to, like, dismiss it. I guess just I wanted more. I yearn for more complexity in my characters and stories than a lot of books in this general, like, group, like, age grouping or, like, genre tend to deliver. But it did have some great moments of, like, kind of whimsy, you know, kind of like a Douglas Adams, like, turn of phrase or a bit of lore, just some fun little one-off, like, random kind of non sequiturs or, like, things like that I highlighted. And there's some fun to be had along the way. And I used to teach 4th grade, like an English language arts teacher in the U.S., and I would put this on my shelf. Like, I would recommend this to, I can actually think of some former students who, like, back when they were 4th grade, like, they would have loved this, and I would have wholeheartedly recommended it to them. Mental illness is never going to get better, really. I know I've complained about the physical issues like my hip, but that's not why I'm disabled. Yeah, I know you've mentioned that before. It's all mental illness. Physical issues were not a part of my disability getting approved. I guess I would just, I know that, like, it's always a struggle that you're going to have to work through. I guess I was wondering, like, have you found some ways to work through it or, like, I don't know, weather the storm? And currently in that process, like, how you doing? Are you finding yourself, like, through it and onto the other side? I love ups and downs. Linderwall was a large kingdom just east of the Mountains of Mourning, where philosophers were highly respected and the number 5 was fashionable. I really like that. Just last little detail. The number 5 was fashionable. Like I said, kind of whimsical, kind of fun, but also kind of, I mean, it's interesting. It gets you wondering about, like, the society. Like, why 5? What does that look like? And a lot of times, it doesn't really explore that to any great degree, and I'm happy about that. Like, just kind of feed my imagination some catalytic bit of information, and then let me just ruminate on what that could look like. If you have something fun to explore that idea, then explore it. But otherwise, like, I'm fine with these kind of, like, one-off little, yeah, the number 5 was fashionable. Really into 5s. I mean, it got me thinking about, like, and maybe this has been explored and researched or whatever, but, like, why we gravitate towards certain numberings for certain things. You know, sometimes an even number, an even set feels correct, feels, I don't know, it gives you, like, a sense of stability with whatever it is, like, musically, you know, like 4/4, stuff like that. But then when it comes to, like, a set of stories, like a trilogy is very satisfying. 3 parts. Hey, Fishy, what's going on? Welcome. And Frederick, thank you so much for the 10-stream streak. It's really out of my control, Sally. I just have to endure. I hope your endurance goes all right. It's going. Yeah. We're just jumping into the book here. Did you read it this month? Dealing with Dragons? I did. How'd you feel about it? The ellipses kind of felt like my brain was losing brain cells. I try and always, especially, like, these are all community picks, and I look for I look for the things I enjoy. And I don't want to ever, like, dismiss someone's choice. But I do want to be honest. So I didn't like this book. I didn't care for it, and I didn't really get much out of it. But I'm gonna share some of the things I did. Do you have any, like, general comments about why you didn't enjoy it, or just anything you want to share about it in general? It was really bad for like a week or two, but you weren't streaming much during that time, so you didn't really get a chance to notice. So right before the Hobbit Book Club weekend. God, yeah. I still haven't paid for Spotify. I probably never will. So everything felt very juvenile. Yeah, I guess that was that's where I kind of ended up as well. Like, I like some of the ideas in this, but with its general, like, with it being like a YA book, and I was struggling to find things that, like, really reached me, or like that I had much to think about, because I guess it's just kind of like, there's not a lot of subtext or anything, right? There's not a lot of things to think about or explore with these ideas. It's basically like a kind of simplistic story. But I mentioned I like this just random line about the number 5 being fashionable. Let me look through my notes here and see what else I had. Yeah, it just is. I kind of felt that way too. I kind of, like, we haven't gotten there yet, but I guess I don't like... Yeah, it's still going. I don't really like the foundation, like, setup for taking dragons and making them friendly, and, like, so humanizing them, like putting so many human qualities into them. Like, she's literally at some point, like, dusting their bookshelves and, like, making them omelets, and they're, like, so... It's not, like, cutesy in a way that's, like, cute for a dragon. It's just, like, human-like to a degree that, like, they cease to be dragons to me. Like, the only sense you get that they are dragons is, like, in moments where they need to be, and, like, in their physicality. But their entire demeanor and, like, their society and everything around the interaction with the dragons, I felt like there's nothing here that actually reads dragon or justifies the choice to make it. Like, it could have been, she could have wandered into a den of elves or dwarves or fairies or anything, and the story would have played out the exact same way. There's no justification for making them. They could have been anything. Yeah, and I don't feel like in their characterizations that I really feel, that it justified the choice to make them dragons. And I think it actually would have been better to make them a different type of creature, because you lose the power. Like, you lose the power of the dragon. Like, everything that comes packaged in that, all the history and the assumptions and the mental image that you conjure when thinking about dragons. And it does start, like I mentioned before, sort of trying to subvert a couple archetypes around fantasy literature with what is expected of a princess or what is expected of a protagonist, but it's done in a very YA way. But then we get to the dragons, and, like, we can't do that with them anymore, because we've kind of leached all the power out of them and just kind of, like, smoothed them down to nothing, except in, like, a couple random scenes where they're suddenly, like, vicious. Like, when the wizards show up at the end, and, like, oh yeah, we ate some of them, or maybe it was just one of them. But then, like, even then, they, like, there's so much hesitation, because I guess she wants to appeal to children, but, like, they chase off the wizards, but then they do eat one of them. So it's like, okay, we're gonna give a little hint of the wildness of these creatures, but only a little bit. Like, we still need to keep them generally friendly. So, like, they chase the wizards off, but one of them they ate. You saved Not Gonna Lie? Oh, 8-1. Yeah, 1. Yeah, I think it was just 1, wasn't it? I had a note about page 12. Let's go to page 12. I guess I highlighted a couple of things. I guess some of these, like, when I realized what it was, like, okay, but putting on, like, lens of former 4th grade English language arts teacher. And just kind of, let's treat it as a YA book, and like, how is it as a YA book? Like, I kind of like the just kind of whimsical writing style at times, you know, like the way some of these things are peppered in. You know, there was a great deal of etiquette, from the proper way to curtsy before visiting Prince to how loudly it was permissible to scream when being carried off by a giant. Linderwall still had an occasional problem with giants. Like, I can enjoy these, like taking the idea of etiquette and just playing with it a little bit, like how loudly it is permissible to scream when being carried off by a giant. That's a fun little idea there. I would not have been able to read because of the heat anyways. Yeah. And the chapter names kill me every time I come across one. I think I didn't even really, I stopped registering them. In which Cimorine refuses to be proper, and yeah, it's... Yeah. I've tried playing games that take fast reactions or brain power, and I just can't do it. And it's like, oh, I don't need to read anymore. Yeah, I think, again, leaning into YA structure, and like that's what I kept coming back to, like, oh, everything's spoon-fed. There's no subtlety or vagaries or anything for me to, as a reader, engage with or think about. Like you mentioned, you just kind of, the story just is, which is, I can enjoy that from time to time. Like, I'm not required to think on this one, but then I need something in the story to be engaging. Like, on a plot level, I need something unforeseen, something surprising, something clever to happen, and it was really just like a bare bones kind of predictable plot on that one. Yeah, I kind of like this one too. Fencing is not proper behavior for a princess, he told her in the gentle but firm tone recommended by the court philosopher. Just like, that is well done, you know, like these little peppered in, like they give you a general, like, larger sense of like how hierarchical and how regimented this society is. Where, like, we could just say gentle voice, but we have that extra little bit of information for you as the reader to run with, and like, oh yeah, everyone is just like deferring to the technocratic experts, or, you know, the best practices of the kingdom. Everything is etiquette. No one has any free will. And I think it's a good setup. But for the first time in 3 weeks, my apartment is actually cooling down a bit, and hopefully with only 22 degrees today, it won't heat right back up. Some stakes of any kind. There were 0 stakes. Yeah, some small things are okay, I guess. Yeah, that's what I kept coming back to that as well. Like, what is it for? I think this is like, this kind of encapsulates my primary issue with the dragons, the Cherries Jubilee stuff, like making Cherries Jubilee for dragons. I couldn't couldn't take it. It's like, I need the dragons to be dragons on some level, please. Just please let them be dragons a little bit. Forecast for the week. That's looking all right. That's looking all right. Cimorine slowed down and looked longingly at the cool green shade beneath the trees. Just then a woman's voice called out from the pavilion. "My dear, you look so tired and thirsty. Come and sit with me and share my luncheon." The voice was so kind and coaxing that Cimorine took 2 steps towards the edge of the road before she remembered the frog's advice. Oh no, she thought to herself. I'm not going to be caught this easily. She turned without saying anything and hurried on down the road. I like that, because we just move on from that. That's not elaborated on. And I've always found that very compelling. Like, in fantasy, more often in horror, like some disembodied voice, some bait that a protagonist or character comes across on a larger journey, and it's just sort of a one-off momentary exchange or situation. And, you know, it can be very creepy. This one doesn't. It's not, but I don't know. It was something, you know. It's like, I just like that. The early promise of, because we're on like page 12 here. We're just like, what, 9%, a tenth of the way into the book. the early promise of it being a larger, more dangerous, more interesting world. It ends up not being anything. Like, actually, the journey is so quick, and she's just, like, in the dragon's caves, like, almost immediately. And then we're there for, like, almost the entirety of the rest of the book. But for a moment, I thought we might be heading somewhere with some ideas like that, some moments like that. I think I wrote some just like notes myself as I was reading. So let's see. I haven't looked at these before the stream, so please bear with me. I like the simple quaintness of the catalyst in the original conflict here. Okay, yeah, this is like, so she's held captive. Like, she's captive by the dragons, but she willingly goes into their den. Funnily enough, when I got the book and it said it was targeted at the younger age, I was like, oh my, And then we looked at The Hobbit, and that was apparently also targeted at younger people. So I was like, okay, maybe it'll be okay, right? But it really turned out to be a children's book. Yeah, I saw that too, and I'm always open to, like, there can be great literature for any age group and in any genre. And so I'm always open to the idea. But it gave me pause when I saw that. Especially, like, there's one thing with, like, The Hobbit and, like, older literature where, like, we had fewer, like, genres and, like, things were less marketed, like, into, like, niche categories. We're like, oh, where do we put this book? I guess we make it a children's book. Like, I think The Hobbit is an all ages book. Like, children can enjoy it. I read it as a child. But there is a lot there for an adult to enjoy and engage with. It really is just like a perfect all ages, wonderful story. But then, yeah, just, you never know. Is it really going to try and appeal to children and do that job well, but, like, not think really much about adult readers and what they might be looking to get out of it? Some books can really strike the balance and have something there for everyone. This one was really just geared towards children more so. I wonder if I had read it at a young age, how I would have felt about it. But I think even then I maybe would have desired more. It utilizes traditional familiar stereotypes and archetypes and plot lines, subverts a bit with a particularly strong-willed princess protagonist, and has some very humorous turns of phrase and dialogue around expectations and poking fun at fairy tale tropes, and helps endear the character to us by spending the first fourth or more of the book centered around her quest to evade suitors, which is made additionally humorous by the ineptitude of Thranduil. That was my general, like, encapsulation of the positive feelings I had about it. And I think it, on that, like, again, for its age group, I think it's very fun. Like, I think it's fun, her trying to ditch the suitors. I think, for young readers who this is marketed for and written for, like, I can see really loving Cimarine. Like, she's cool, she fences, she doesn't give a shit about all these dudes trying to come marry her. She would rather go live with dragons. And I, even as an adult, I think that's cool. I appreciate that. What makes The Hobbit a children's book, in my opinion, is that it's written in a way a child can understand. Yes, I would agree with that. And I think it's written with clarity. Like, there's no, like, postmodern flourishes of language or anything. There's no, like, leaving something to interpretation or keeping something vague that might be difficult for someone to conjure a mental image of what's transpiring, right? It's written with clarity. It's written as, like a fairy tale story. And yeah, I agree. That's what makes it a great all-ages book. Like, Lord of the Rings, even though I read it young, is a tough read for children. Yeah, because that one is a lot more like The Hobbit didn't do this as much, but, like, that one's more likely to just kind of veer off into lore for a little while, right? And I think The Hobbit does it with, like, you get kind of like this. You get, like, little snippets of lore peppered in lightly but the focus is always to make the world feel bigger and more interesting and more fascinating and more dangerous than it would be otherwise. It's not to actually communicate historical or, like, anthropological or whatever information about the world. its primary focus fundamentally is to be a story that just continues to move, not lose any momentum, and keep you interested and enchanted by its world. Whereas I think the Lord of the Rings, he really was getting into more like, but I want to world build here. Like, I want to do that, but I kind of want to like actually flesh out some of these ideas in these moments. That's pretty fair. Yeah, but Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit deal with similar stuff. They're just written in different ways. I had something at page 78, so let's go to page 78. Whoop. Maybe I didn't highlight it. Oh, I don't think I did. When the wizards visit and Cimmerine imitates all of her sisters in various ways, pouting and making puzzled faces and wrinkling her brow to play up these sorts of assumed princess reactions and fake out the wizards, and maybe have them let their guard down or let her get away with more than she would otherwise. I guess I just thought that was kind of fun. But I don't know exactly where it was. I guess it's just this general scene. I do like that. I do like the general idea here. Like, take the hero's journey,
眠る前にアラームをセットして
take the princess archetype, princess getting saved by a dragon, flip it, play with it. And there is some of that. And in those moments, I enjoyed some of that play. Page 102, I had something. What do we got? Oh, yeah. The cat, a large gray tom, blinked its yellow eyes at Kazul. Then he jumped down from the porch rail and sauntered into the house, his tail held high, as if to say, I'm doing this a particular favor of mine, and don't you forget it. He doesn't seem very impressed, Cimmerine commented in some amusement. Why should he be? Kazul said. Well, you're a dragon, Cimmerine answered, a little taken aback. What difference does that make to a cat? And I think that's a funny line. I like that one. 121, I also had... What do we got? Oh, I think I just, like, I was highlighting moments that kind of encapsulated Cimmerine's character. Yeah, it's still going. She has access to any wish she wants when they unleash the djinn. She's just like, I want some powdered hen's teeth because I'm currently looking for some for my dragon. Just the simplicity of that, you know? The parts of the cats I actually enjoyed, funny enough. Yeah, okay. I mean, there's some good, like, it doesn't reach anywhere close to, like, I mentioned, like, Douglas Adams before, with just, like, some fun little... kind of whimsical playing with an idea and just like running with it for a couple sentences. It's never anything quite to that degree, but there were moments. Small interactions, but that's as far as it goes. Yeah. On that point, like, even though I enjoyed some of those, like, some of them actually pissed me off. And it just being a mixture of lemon and soap water to destroy the wizards, I couldn't. I can't accept that. I can't accept it. It's too much. When they just pour the bucket of cleaning solution, it just melts the wizard. I'm like, oh, why? Was there something enchanted or something? But no. Apparently wizards are very allergic to lemons. Yeah, that was, it's like Even's like, I put on my 4th grade teacher / trying to get in touch with my younger self and read this as like an elementary school student. And I think even if I had read this back then, I would have been like, what the hell was that? Just because they're very dirty, apparently. Yeah. Children deserve good media. I agree. I think there's, I think overall, I would still, like, feel confident. Like, it would not be high on the list, but like I said, I can recall some students when I was teaching 4th grade that were like ravenous for genre fiction. And I can think of one girl in particular I taught in 4th grade. She was an avid reader. Like, she would just take books out of my classroom library and like have them back like the next day or like the day after. It's like, I need more. And she exhausted like everything I had, and she was really into like fantasy lit. And there would be a point where like I would definitely recommend her to read this because I think she would just tear through the series, and I think she would enjoy it because if she had a background like at that age, I do want my students to like be understanding archetypes, and then like once they have a foundation in like tropes and the general thrust of like a fantasy narrative or just like a story and narrative arcs, I would want them to now be engaging with fiction that subverts some of those tropes and plays with them to like broaden her understanding of, or like just general students' understanding of what can be done with them. And I think this would be a great book to place in that journey and have her, I think she would enjoy, just because like strong female protagonist that is fun to read, and you know, I would imagine later books develop her character further. So yeah, I think I would recommend it as good media for a child, you know, with a couple qualifiers, but I think it would fit in nicely with like I wouldn't teach it, but you know, extracurricular, like trying to give students engaging things to read and keep them, you know, interested in and learning about literature. I'm not gonna lie, I got the feeling that the author hates men as much as I hate the political bait. The males are all regarded, for sure. Is that the lens you gave before? That's a good way. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about anything like too strongly about it on that front. For me, it was just like, we take the idea of suitors. Like, to me, it always just like felt like playing with the trope of the princess held prisoner by the dragon, and then trying to play with that idea and have a bunch of like inept, hapless suitors come by. And I think it makes for some good comedy, but I didn't really think about anything beyond that. Oh, is that... Yeah, if that was like a way to use that word without using it. Sorry, I didn't mean to read it then. Yeah, I prefer not to use that word. I think we can use something else. Oh. Okay. I didn't mean to read it then. I'm sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go there with it. But to your point, like, they're ridiculous characters. They are just like, you know, comically inept. Now, how much comedy you feel when reading about that is, you know, your mileage may vary. 159. Yeah, I guess I was just highlighting. I was looking for things, anything that might warrant attention at this point. So, anyway, if I were a slab of stone, I wouldn't know about it until it was all over and be turned back into a prince again. How do you know? Simrine demanded. Have you ever been a stone slab? The stone princess looked startled. No, I haven't. I never thought about that. It's fun. Oh, I think maybe I had a scene that encapsulated some of my thoughts about the dragons. If you go to page 202. The crowd muttered agreement. Oh, I think it's here. The crowd muttered agreement. Simrine looked from Warog to Gazul and back. Warog appeared to be terrified of something, but Simrine could not tell what it was. He crouched and seemed to shrink away from Kazul, drawing his wings in close and making himself as small as possible. Cimarine blinked. It was remarkable how much smaller Warog could make himself look. In fact, I don't know why I highlighted that one in particular, but like, this was a point, I guess this is where I was kind of like really solidifying some of my thoughts about it. Where like, if you actually visualize this scene, it's a little too ridiculous. Like on the page, you can sometimes get around it because it's like half imagined. But to like actually see some of these scenes with the dragons play out, like them, I don't know, like standing around chattering and like acting so much like humans, having fried eggs for breakfast, like you don't get a sense of their predatory nature at all. They're all like defanged. So it's like what Fishy and I were saying before, like they they be anything. They were dragons, but they could have been some other fantasy creature, and should have been, again, because you haven't justified the choice to make them dragons. We chased 5 of them away, the Pale Dragon reported. I don't think they'll be back either. 5? The Pale Dragon shot a glance at the youngest of the group, who licked his lips and looked even more smug than before and said nothing. Yes, Your Majesty. Like, this one kind of just frustrated me. Like, even in a moment where we could, like, allow them to be dragons and remind the reader, like, oh, there were actual stakes. Like, she was held prisoner, you know, willingly, but by frightening creatures, beasts, you know, and no, they're just too friendly. Like, yeah, if you push them, maybe they'll eat a wizard, but that's all. I think that was my last thought about it, actually. Because, like, I was looking at my other notes, and I kind of was just frustrated about the soapy water. I think it could have made stuff like that work. I think some of these things that, like, Fishy and I are frustrated by could actually be positive attributes to a story if it were goofier and like kind of winked at the camera. Like, it was a little bit, I don't know, like maybe it tries to be earnest in delivering a story here, and then like have some really goofy ideas that are very contrived ways to solve the issue, like plot wise, like get our characters to a solution. But if it were a little more unhinged and like the tone was a little more comedic, then I think stuff like that, like, oh, how do you defeat the wizard? Well, they're dirty, so you just soap them up and they just fizzle away. That could work, but I think it would have to be a quite different book. That's a very good point. It does try to be serious. Yeah, I think it does, and I think if you like, you got to pick a lane. Like, do you want me to invest in this narrative and these characters and feel like that the plot is driven forward and the solutions are found because of their character attributes and like their will and, you know, their mental abilities? Or like, do you want me to feel like it's, I don't know, a contrived solution, like a Deus Ex Machina, or just like something found by the author and given to our characters? And it feels like the latter. And again, that can work sometimes if you are really trying to do like a more kind of spoof parody tone, or because it plays with some of those ideas with the subversion, but there's a big difference, just a gulf between like earnest narrative with subverted tropes and full on like spoof while being absurd. Yeah. Well, if you're hungry for that, I know you've suggested The Hitchhiker's Guide. Maybe we'll get it this time. I'd love to reread it. That's more like that. Like what I'm describing is closer to that. Hitchhiker's Guide is an earnest narrative that, at least for the first couple books. The latter ones I kind of fall off personally, but that I can care about. Can care about those characters and their journey. But then it's just so ridiculous and so funny in the midst of that. That kind of does it all at once. Kind of like how The Hobbit is an all-ages book. Like The Hitchhiker's Guide is able to deliver an artist narrative while still being like so unhinged in some of the plot moments, but then also just like the writing style and the jokes, the humor. Do we have any final thoughts on... No, not Searching for Dragons. Dealing with Dragons. Dealing with Dragons. If not, we're going to spin that wheel. Thank you, Celestial Sage, for putting the book on the wheel. I feel bad. I'm sorry I didn't enjoy it. I've tried my best to like be fair to it, but ultimately if I'm honest, I didn't. But I'm always happy to have a new experience, engage with a new series or author. So on that front, no complaints. But we're gonna see what we're reading next time. So let's see. No thanks. Alright, is that good there? It's kind of cut off, but I guess we can do this. So anyone wanted to suggest a book? Put a book on the wheel. We need to take off Dealing with Dragons. Elantris. Whose was that? Brandon Sanderson. Already got one. Mine. Hey, Emissary, what's going on? Welcome. You came at the end. Although, if you read Dealing with Dragons and want to share any thoughts, feel free. Still time. And I could even pull the book back up if you had something. Red Eye chose Dracula. I chose The Shadow of the Torturer. V Games chose Watership Down. Fishy chose Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Emissary, did you choose Elantris? I just said that. Well, you said mine, and I was like, oh, okay, that was yours, wasn't it? Sorry, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Anyone want to change their pick? There's a chance to do that. Anyone hanging out? Do you want to throw a book on the wheel? Anybody, whether you read this book or not, whether you've participated in a previous book club or not, this is your chance to get a book on the wheel. Brandon Sanderson has good reads. I would love to read that. I would love to read any of these. I've read Watership Down, but it's been a very long time. Same thing with Dracula. Actually, these three, Hitchhiker's Guide, Watership Down, Dracula, actually, my book as well. Wait, I've read all these except Elantris. But I threw Shadow of the Torturer on there because Ellie Sen was reading it. It's like, oh, man. I kind of want to reread it now. Because those are some of my favorite books. Those 4 books by Gene Wolfe. They're so good, and I would love to share and talk about them. This one, The Children of Hurin. Oh, I don't even know this. Okay. Cool. I'll throw it on. Whoops. I think we can, yeah. Actually, no, next time? Okay, because you're, too hot to read? Yeah, I knew you were gonna... I knew. I wasn't gonna get away with that. It's like, I don't know how to... Without... I could have just copied and pasted it. There we go. Okay. There. But wait, don't put it on? Unticket. The check mark? I meant... Oh. Shoot. I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. We do have that option, don't we? Yeah. I assume the checkmark has it in the list, but not on the wheel. Yeah, I didn't even... There we go. That's easier. Last call for book choices. Dracula, Shadow of the Torturer, Watership Down, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Elantris. I understood that intuitively. Some of us are not so lucky. Some of us are too distracted by everything else to even notice these icons. Maybe things aren't obvious. Maybe I'm just smart. I think both could be true. Soft Talker Raider, are you hanging out here? If so, thank you. Are you in the stream at the moment? I am. Thank you so much. Void Stranger. That's very kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do I have... I feel like I've heard of this. Void Stranger. What do I know about this? 2D Sokoban style puzzle game where every step counts. Cool, thank you. Well, this looks neat. You enjoyed this one? I assume you played through it. Did you get a gift? I did. Soft Taco Raider. Well, now in the guise of Hard Taco Raider, just sent me a Void Stranger on Steam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Heavily. All right, Hard Taco Raider, Soft Taco Raider. Do you want to read anything for the book club? Do you want to put a book on the wheel for the next month's book club? We're about to spin it, but if there's anything you would like to suggest. Oh, advance warning, a couple months. If y'all will allow it. For the October book club, can I request that no matter what, like whether your book has been picked or not to that point, I know this is kind of a big request, you've been waiting for a while, but for that 1 month, can everyone suggest like a spooky book? And then like if you still haven't had your book that you've been waiting on chosen, you could throw it back on the wheel the following month. I'd really like to read something spooky for October. So if we can do that. October isn't a real month. It isn't, but we're not reading nonfiction. So I think it's appropriate. I mean, we could read nonfiction, yeah, if anyone has any spooky nonfiction. Honestly, I think those books are great. Sorry, which books? Oh, the ones on here? Okay. Gonna get a lot of Stephen King. What have you read already? In terms of Stephen King, I would say a lot, but honestly, like, he's so prolific. I'm gonna put up Richard Matheson, Hell House, I think. I was actually reading it last year, and then I didn't finish it. And it's fucking awesome. The author of, how am I blanking on this? I Am Legend. I can't believe I didn't finish it. I think I had to read something for the podcast, and then I got distracted, and then here we are. And I would just restart it, because it is really, really good. I was thinking that, or maybe some Lovecraft stories. You could also, like, if anyone has any, like, obviously we can't read all of Lovecraft or something like that, but if you have, like, a selection of short stories, horror stories by an author, or, I don't know, we could read some manga or something. We could read some Junji Ito. I'm open to anything. I would like to read something. Like, I would like to spend October this year just doing spooky stuff. So if we can all think of some spooky books for that month. But it's still a little ways off. All right, we're going to spin the wheel. Sorry, I've been talking so long. Y'all been waiting. Let's do it. Lovecraft shorter stories are actually really good. Oh, yeah. Actually, some of my favorite Lovecraft stories are pretty short. We're reading Dracula. Well, what if we got spooky right now? Dracula it is. Which that's good too, because August in Japan is also spooky month. They do their spooky times in August because it's like so hot and ghost stories cool you down. Hey, Suplo, what's going on? Welcome. Oh, you're just too late. I don't know if you wanted to put a book on the wheel. Although, if you want to put it on for next time, you have any interest in participating in a monthly book club? We read a book every month. Everyone from the community is allowed to suggest or nominate one book. We throw it on the wheel. We let fate decide where we go. We just finished our discussion of Dealing with Dragons. Yeah, Fishy, to your point, like, I think the first, like, it remains a favorite, but I think it's the first Lovecraft story that, and it might have been early in the collection, and that's why, but when I started going through his stories, the music of Eric Zahn is, like, one of my favorite short stories ever written. And it's not that long, and it's not that complex, but it's just, it enthralls me. Like, some of his random, like, kind of weird, like, just this kind of singular idea, it's not really so much like an exploration of the greater lore of his mythos. Some of those are my favorites, actually, because they're just so complete in and of themselves. They so deliver on a singular idea so well, and like just the visuals that I imagine. Necronomicon, the best weird tales of H.P. Lovecraft commemorative edition. There it is. Is the Lurking Fear? What's the one with, like, I want to say it's up in, like, upstate New York, like, rural, with, like, the degenerated family that's, like, tunneling through all of the surrounding, like in and out of the homes, but, like, through the forest and the hills. Is that the Lurking Fear? No, wait, that's different, right? The Martens Mansion? Some of these has been a long time, and I get the names mixed up. It would be great to do some Lovecraft, although we need to be careful with some of them, because some of them are... I mean, it's well known that the man was a vile racist, and sometimes you can enjoy a tale and it doesn't come up. And sometimes, unfortunately, it does. And I'd like to stay away from some of that. Which Dracula? Sorry, the original. I'm assuming is what Red Eye wanted. Is there another well-known Dracula, like in terms of novels, other than the Bram Stoker one? Has it been like rewritten, remade? Like I know in film it has, but I'm assuming the original, like, epistolary novel. A book you actually have? Oh, do you have that one? Okay, cool. So cool. I just got an e-reader for my birthday, actually. Oh, nice. Okay, well, if you want to join in. You did not read that one? Yeah, okay. It can get dicey with H.P. Lovecraft. It can. Even though I love Lovecraftian tales. Yeah. So... might have to think about that, but that aside, like, the ones where you don't have to deal with that, some of my favorite spooky stories. We can think on it. We got a couple months, but that's my only request for the book club going forward is in October. Whatever your current pick is, please replace it with something spooky just for that month, and then we can get back to whatever we want to read. Bram Stoker Dracula, that's what we're reading, yeah. So let's take that off the wheel. And then... this will be there for next time, Frederick's pick. You can change these at any time. At any time, anyone not in the Discord server, there's a channel for book club stuff. You don't have to wait for this stream. At any point, you can just tell me, like, hey, I want my pick next month to be this, and I'll make sure it gets on there. And you can also, I will put out, I always do, once we've... I'm going to snooze some ads. Once we've chosen the next book and finished the book club discussion stream here today, I always take a look at the book and throw out like a rough set of reading goals, like by this date try and read to here. You don't have to do that, but if anyone wants to share anything or has any thoughts that they want to get down and share them publicly, you are always welcome to, encouraged to do that in that Discord channel. But I want people to adhere to, like, don't share anything beyond this page before this date, so we don't spoil anyone. I want people to be able to go in and out of that channel without getting spoiled. So I will drop those. I've kind of like, this last book was such a short read that I only kind of threw up one date, like try and finish half the book by halfway through the month. I might do a little bit more this time. But yeah, we can do that as well. So you're going to add that, is it the same day of the month? Been so long since I book clubbed. Yeah, I usually do it the last Sunday. This time slot, the last Sunday of the month. But we can always move it if people need to move it. But I've just been throwing out that date consistently, and so far, no one has suggested another one. So for now, tentatively scheduled for August 31st, last day of the month. So we got a long time to read Dracula. August 31st, 9 a.m. Japan time. Unless something comes up, we will discuss Dracula. Gotta go walk the dog. We'll be lurking. Thanks so much, Fishy. I really appreciate you always participating. And even when you don't like the book, you come in and you share your thoughts. And thank you. Thank you. Gold star. A+. You've been on it every month. It's awesome. I hope your book comes up here soon, because I would love to reride The Hitchhiker's. Reride? I want to reride. It's a ride. I'd like to rewrite it. Last Sunday Japan time works well. Cool. That's the end of the book club. Most people are behind you. In Europe, it's Sunday at the moment. In America, it's Saturday. So it's the weekend everywhere. Yeah, see, for me, it's like, it's actually the perfect vibe. You know, it's Sunday morning. I'm having a coffee. It feels like, you know, well, I would say like when I've joined book clubs in the past, but actually a lot of them met in the afternoon. But we would meet at coffee shops. It's recalling that. For me, it's good, but I don't know. It's like, is Saturday night good time for a book club for everybody? Are we jumping right into Phantasy Star now? I don't know what time Anime Freak is available. Do I have time to play a little bit of Sakura Taisen? If you were in the US, for example, then last Sunday would be Monday most places. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean now. Yeah. True. Well done. Well done. First one. No. What the fuck? Sucking noobs. What do we think? Can I fit in a little bit of Sakura Taisen? I don't want to get into that and then have Anime Freak show up. I don't know what time Anime Freak is available. Should I go for it? It would be so easy. This is how easy it would be. We're ready to go. This is Phantasy Star 4. But is anyone currently in here planning on playing Phantasy Star today? Little Sakura Taisen didn't hurt nobody? That's what I want to believe. Have you messaged Free? No, not I jumped in. Hey, Coelacanth, what's going on? I jumped in a stream last night, and he did say, he mentioned he was getting on later for Phantasy Star Online. So, I'm just not sure what time. Try not to pour paprika on your nips. Okay, I'll try. It's always that danger when you cook shirtless. You know, get a little too wild with the spices, shaking it around. Like, you could end up with a little paprika on your nips, but try not to do that. Although there are worse things that could end up there. Book club would be Sunday morning Japan time. Yeah, so like an hour ago I started the stream. I always tentatively schedule it for an hour ago, last Sunday Japan time. So like your Saturday 8 p.m. I think. Currently. I pinged him on Discord. Last Sunday, an hour. Yeah, so like I guess it would be August 30th, 8 p.m. for you. I'm gonna be a little naughty and play some Sakura Tyson until Phantasy Star Online folks show up. I guess. So I better get into it quick because get the most out of it. So let me step away for just 1 minute. We're gonna, I guess, do some unexpected steampunk mech action for a little bit before we play Phantasy Star Online. So I'll be right back.